Namaskar friends, welcome to the third chapter, that is the plant kingdom of standard 11, in which we are going to study the sixth part, that is the uh, angiosperms. In the previous video we have already discussed about alga, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms. It is already existing in the video format in the YouTube. You can go through it. And in this one we are going to study about the angiosperms. So, welcome. Welcome to the Vigyan with Vishal Mulia. Welcome to Biology with Vishal Mulia. Welcome. Angiosperms are having covered ovules. In the gymnosperms, the ovules are naked, while in angiosperms, ovules are covered before fertilization and even after fertilization. And that's why the word used here is angio, that means covered, and sperm means seeds. So here seeds are covered before and after, so it is angiosperms. In the angiosperms, the pollen grain, ovules, whatever the reproductive parts are there, that is growing in the or developing in the specialized structure to which we are calling flowers. No need of introduction of the flower, but because flowers are produced here, the angiosperms are popularly known as flowering plants. In angiosperms, seeds are enclosed by fruit. Here you cannot touch the seeds without removing the parts of the fruit or without cutting the fruits. And that's why it is here in the sign tone it is said, groundnut is enjoying the cartoon and saying that you can't enjoy seeds without opening the fruit. So here seeds are covered angiosperms. Angio means covered and sperms means seeds. So that's why here we are going to study about angiosperms. These angiosperms are highly distributed, large group occurring in wide range of habitat. You can find it in water, you can find it in the ground area, you can find it in the desert area, even on the mountain range. Everywhere in the wide range of habitat you can find, and that's why it is having huge number of species. More than 250 lakh species are there. So it is highly distributed and very large group. If you go through this size, it is having almost small teeny microscopic wolfia as well as the tall tree of eucalyptus. So it is ranging very high. Wolfia you can see here, which is almost microscopic, and you can see the tall tree of eucalyptus. Let me go through the detail of wolfia. Here you can see in the 1 teaspoonful you can have huge amount of wolfia. When you put it under the microscope, you can see that there are certain interesting features, and when you cut it and look in the microscope, you will find that it is having male and female reproductive parts. It is there in the form of a small flower, and that's why wolfia is the smallest flowering plant. Eucalyptus is well known to us. It is having lot of medicinal importance, and here you can see the flower of eucalyptus. These plants, I mean the angiosperms, are providing us huge amount of useful products like food. Whatever the fruit me and you are enjoying, that is from the angiosperms. Cereals, that is our routine food. Pulses, that is our routine food. And even the vegetables are obtaining from the angiosperms. Not only our food, but the food of animals, that is fodder, is also obtaining from the angiosperms. It can be the best source, or it is one of the good source of fuel also, medicine also. Huge amount of medicine is obtaining from the angiosperms. And if not listed, there are so many other commercially important product is obtaining from the angiosperms. If you go through internet, you can find n number of uses and n number of images which is depicting about the uses of angiosperms, and we know very well about the use of plant. Coming to the technical point, it is having two different classes, dicotyledons and monocotyledons. To be precise, you can speak dicot and monocot. Here some description is given, but let me simplify this description. Dicots are having seeds which is having two cotyledons, leaf is having reticulate venation, and flowers are having either tetramerous or pentamerous condition. In comparison to this, monocotyledons, or in short monocots, are having one cotyledon. It is not one cotyledons, it is one cotyledon, parallel venation in the leaf, and flowers are trimerous. Let me go through the photograph of each one. Here you can see the dicot and monocot comparison of the seeds, where two cotyledons is there in the dicot while single cotyledon in the monocot. Same way in the leaf, reticulate venation as well as parallel venation can be seen, and tetramerous condition of the flower in dicot and trimerous condition means the multiplication of 3 in the flower part can be seen here in the monocot. Coming to the reproductive part, male sex organ is known as stamen, which is found in the flower, and that stamens are having anther. Each stamen is consisting of the slender filament which is for the support, associated with the anther with the help of connective, and the uppermost part or at the tip part it is anther. These anthers are having pollens. It is having pollen sac which is producing pollen grains, and these pollen grains are having huge amount of variety, lot of variation in the color, shape, size, ornamentation, as well as in the surface. So you can say for each and every different kind of plant there is different kind of pollen. So more than 250 lakh of type of pollens are available. Coming to the female sex organ, it is pistil or it is carpel. It is present in the flower only. This pistil or carpel is having three different parts, that is stigma at the tip, style, and ovary at the base. This pistil is containing ovary which is having one or many ovules, and these ovules after fertilization giving rise to seeds, that is for the next generation. Within the ovule there is highly reduced female gametophyte, and this highly reduced female gametophyte is known as embryo sac. This embryo sac is produced with the help of process called meiosis. It is reductional division, and that's why each and every cell of the embryo sac is haploid, except of the polar cell which is having two nuclei. We will come to it. In the embryo sac, each embryo sac is having three celled egg apparatus which is having one egg cell and two synergids. Opposite to it, in the opposite pole, there is three antipodal cells and two polar nuclei. Let me go through it in the photographic form. Here in the lowermost part you can see the egg cells supported by synergids. In the exactly opposite side, three antipodal cells, and in the center there is a two polar nuclei which is forming a central cell which is diploid. The polar nuclei eventually fuse and produce a diploid secondary nucleus which is of utmost importance in the fertilization post-fertilization process. We will go through it. The pollen grain after dispersal from the anther are carried out by wind or by various agencies like insect or birds to the stigma or pistil of the female reproductive part, and this process is known as pollination. Pollination we are going to study much in detail in the standard 12th. The pollen grain germinate on the stigma, and resulting pollen tube is growing in the tissue of the stigma and style and reach to the ovule. Once it reach to the ovule, this pollen tube is reaching to embryo sac, entering in the embryo sac and releasing or discharging two male gametes. One of the male gamete is fusing with the egg cell, so you can say it is syngamy and forming the zygote, while the another male gamete is fusing with the diploid secondary nucleus to produce the triploid primary endosperm nucleus, which is going to give rise to endosperms in the future, which is of the nutritional importance. Because there are involvement of two fusion, two male gametes are fusing with two different parts, so this entire event is known as double fertilization. This double fertilization event is very unique to the angiosperm and it is nowhere else happening in the plant kingdom. The zygote, after fertilization, zygote is developing into the embryo, and this embryo may be having either one cotyledon in monocot or having two cotyledon in dicot. Here you can see the stages of the development of the zygote to the embryo. Technically it is known as embryogenesis, and this embryo is found in the seed, or you can say it is there in the seed. The PEN, that is the primary endosperm nucleus, is later on developing into the endosperm, and this endosperm is providing nourishment to the developing embryo. The synergids and antipodal cells which were already there in the embryo sac is now degenerating after fertilization because it is having no uses. During all these events, the ovule is developing into seeds, and these seeds are, when the seed formation is going on, at the same time the ovary is developing into fruit. So seeds were already covered before fertilization and after fertilization. One can see the formation of the fruit in the sequence here. One by one each and every stages are there. You can see how the fruit is formed from the beginning. This entire process can be simplified or can be explained in the life cycle. So life cycle, according to the photograph or according to image given in our textbook, here we can see it. Two different phases are there, gametophytic phase and sporophytic phase. Whatever the plant we are observing which is having flower is nothing but it is sporophytic phase, diploid in nature, and this sporophytic phase, flower is giving rise to male reproductive structure which is having anther, stamens which is having anther. This anther is having pollen sac, and that pollen sac is having, or you can say to this pollen sac, microsporangium. It is giving rise to microspores by reductional division. So microspore is now gametophyte, and this gametophytic generation further continue to form the male gametes. This pollen is giving rise to pollen tube, and pollen tubes are having two male gametes. Till this it is the development of the male gamete. Now let me go through the female gamete, female reproductive structure. Female reproductive structure is carpel or pistil. It is having stigma, style, and ovary. Ovary is having megaspore mother cell. This megaspore mother cell by reductional division giving rise to megaspore, which is ultimately giving rise to embryo sac, and this embryo sac is having egg cell which is the female gamete. Now this fusion of female gamete and male gamete is resulting into zygote. Zygote is giving rise to embryo by embryogenesis, and this embryo is ultimately resulting into the mature plant. So this is all about the life cycle of angiosperm according to our textbook. In very much detail we are going to study it in the NEET level videos. Till that, we will have the next video also, and in next video we will see plant life cycles and alteration of generation in the plant life. Till that, thank you very much. धन्यवाद, आभार, जय हिंद, जय भारत.